Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Las Vegas. On the broadcast today, former United States Senator Harry Reid for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to the Reno Rodeo. I'm Craig Downing, this year's Reno Rodeo president. The rodeo is back and in full swing. Join us for some great family entertainment. Pull on your boots, grab your hats for the wildest, richest rodeo in the West, June 17th through the 26th. We're back in the saddle again.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are very pleased to be joined once again by former United States Senator Harry Reid. It is an absolute pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
My pleasure, Sam. Brings back a lot of memories.
Well, thank you. It's been 31 years of us doing interviews together. I wanted to start out with, if I could, the last time we talked in person in your office, we were talking about what at the time was the New York Times story on UFOs, and that you had helped with the funding to see what was going on with UFOs and all these reports from Navy pilots, etc. And now that report is going to be released by the federal government. You have been doing a lot of media, but what has come out of it, as far as I can see, is that you're saying that there's really not going to be that much new in this report that's going to come out probably by the end of this month. So I'm wondering, is the reason you're doing all this media because you want to make sure that A, the public is aware of what's going on, and B, to make sure there's funding to continue these inquiries going forward?
The most important reason that I think this report is important is, number one, to keep your focus on an issue that the American people are very, very interested in. Number two, it can't be a one-shot deal. The legislation to set this up was passed in 2020. Reports are going to come out on June 25th. That can't be the end of it. It has to be ongoing, because the more we learn about these UFOs, the more we need to learn.
So it seems to me that this is as much an issue of national security and concern that potentially the Russians or the Chinese in particular are the ones that have this technology, this supersonic technology beyond supersonic, and that from a national security perspective, we need to know more about it. Would you agree with that?
The number one issue dealing with these UFOs at this stage is national security. We, with what I did, with the help of Senators Inouye and Stevens, helping me to get the $22 million to study this. The reason I did this is because that heard a lot of things about this. My staff told me, stay the hell away from this. It's not good for you. But I wanted to find out more. And I did that. Money was put out to bid, and we thought there would be I thought maybe there'd be 15, 20 sightings would be reported. When we got the report back, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So I'm glad I got it started. I think it's money well spent, and I think the American people are glad that we did this. I can be here in Nevada in an elevator, and often someone will say, "Are you Senator Reid?" Yes. They say something to the words like, "Thanks for doing work on flying saucers." So the American people of Nevada, are interested in the subject.
Is there any chance that this is actually part of a Pentagon program that the general public wouldn't be aware of, and that even you as a senior senator might not be aware of?
I assume that's a possibility, but I don't believe it.
Okay.
I think that's I don't think that a program like this you could not keep quiet if American Congress or the judicial, you could not keep this quiet in America if this were done by the administration or some agency of the federal government.
Your good friend Bob Bigelow, who has projects on the space station, has said on programs like 60 Minutes and other places that he believes in UFOs, in alien craft, and that he has seen things in his home, and so has his wife. Are you comfortable that what he's saying is reality?
Well, I believe he has said this. I have no reason to doubt what he's saying. I know that I haven't seen any of them, but I'm well aware of it. Mr. Bigelow and his family have indicated that they have seen these things, and others have. He's not the Lone Ranger.
No, to say the least. So, this is going to keep going here, obviously, for a while. People are very interested, as you say, in this topic, and it'll be interesting to see where all of this ends up. But really, the next big war front, potentially, is in space. If somebody were to attack either a government or some hacking group were to attack one of our GPS satellites or communication satellites in space, that would be a devastating thing for the United States. Would you not agree?
I agree. It would be devastating for the United States and the world. And that's why, to this point, Russia, China, France, a number of countries are aware of this, and they're trying to work together. There's not many formal treaty entered into yet, but there's discussions at the highest levels of these governments to make sure that we stay on top of it. I say we, I mean all these governments work together, because we cannot be battling for outer space like we were for Alaska, something like that.
It was interesting over the last couple of weeks, the Taiwanese government has sent out as many of their ambassadors and consul generals to get the United States citizens to be aware that they are in desperate need of COVID vaccinations, and that they are very, very concerned about the aggressiveness of China in the South China Sea. What's your take on that? Because there was a report just issued a week or so ago that the same gentleman that released the Pentagon Papers at the same time copied the fact that the military in 1958 was prepared to nuke China over Taiwan, and Eisenhower put a stop to that. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't aware of it until past month, but I thought that's stunningly interesting. And of course, Taiwan is doing everything it can, and has been for a number of years, to embarrass, put pressure on China for lots of different reasons. Number one is that they're just a short distance away from China. And we all know if China felt it necessary to get rid of Taiwan in the way of taking it over, they could do it. They don't want to create such a bad storm across the country, across the world. for showing how aggressive China was, that they're not going to do that. But Taiwan is always trying to put in other countries' minds that China's on the verge of invading them.
And has China destroyed the idea of Taiwan being a separate administrative region as Hong Kong was because of what the Chinese have done to Hong Kong?
Well, there's a lot of talk now that countries are now thinking just of avoiding Hong Kong because there's no advantage of being there with communications the way they are now, social media the way it is now, that maybe they're spend all this time dealing with Hong Kong, they can do it other ways.
All right, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll bring things home to Nevada right after this timeout with United States Senator Harry Reid after this.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and Twitter. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you. But we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Serving Our Kids Foundation's mission is to serve homeless, at-risk, and food insecure children in grades K through 8 throughout Southern Nevada. During the pandemic, Serving Our Kids has seen a 42% increase in the number of children served, providing more than 4,500 meals to kids in over 100 schools weekly. Serving Our Kids is powered by community support and volunteers. To learn how you can help, visit servingourkids.org.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and YouTube. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with former United States Senator Harry Reid. There was a story yesterday in the Reno Gazette-Journal, front page, saying that Adam Laxalt is definitely going to run against Catherine Cortez Masto in the United States Senate race. Does that make you happy that he's going to be a candidate?
Well, I think that Masto's really one of the leading lights of modern day Nevada politics. She's a person who was very firm in deciding what she wanted to do. We tried to get her to run for lieutenant governor, we tried all kinds of things. She wanted to be a senator. So she waited until I retired. She's done a stunningly good job. So I am not concerned. I know we have to look at elections as always very difficult, and she will do that. But I think she's in really good shape for 2022.
Do you think it's going to be the biggest money race we've ever seen in Nevada, if you include the third-party money that'll come in?
Well, I don't know. We've had some big ones in the past. My races weren't all cheap, and Hiller's had some expensive ones. Sisolak's had some expensive ones. So I don't think there's any more expensive than any other race we've had in recent years.
All right, let's talk about Judith Whitmore, who is now the state party chair. And, Tick Segelblum, who's running for that chair, was pushed out because he wasn't progressive enough. Did that shock and surprise you that anybody would accuse Tick Segelblum of not being progressive enough?
I think that Tick has a lot of irons in the fire. He's on the county commission. He's just really busy and doing lots of things. I have great admiration for him. He and his family have been friends of ours for decades. And I think Judith Whitmer and the so-called split in the Democratic Party in Nevada is exaggerated because there isn't one. She is a good Democrat. She's doing everything she can to organize. And I think that the relationship between Judith and the state party operation in Washoe County, which is very strong, is really coming together well. So I'm not concerned about that at all.
Overall, you don't have concern that there appears to be a growing split, at least according to the media, in the Democratic Party between moderates and people who are all the way on the progressive left?
I think what we need to do is look at what we have now. We have all the constitutional offices except the one is controlled by Democrats. We have a majority in the Assembly, a majority in the Senate Democrats. We're the only legislative body in the country for both houses. The state legislature made up of women. I think we have really a good, strong Democratic base here in Nevada, and I'm not worried about Judith Whitmer. She's got the interests of the state at heart, and she's getting along well with everybody. I've not talked to anyone other than press who has had any ill will toward Judith.
I have no ill will towards her. I've left her a few telephone messages asking her to come on the program, and I would love to have her come on and talk about the issues that have been raised in the media so that she can clear them up. But I was kind of surprised that she injected herself into the Israeli-Palestinian situation. Is that really appropriate for a state party chair that's really meant to support?
Well, I think she was very careful in indicating those are her personal feelings, not the state party.
All right, let's turn our attention to the legislative session that just ended. Again, I talked to Tic Segabum yesterday, so that's why I'm referencing him. He said it was the most progressive legislative session, and the governor did a fabulous job on all these progressive issues that had been sitting there for years and not getting done. Are you happy with Governor Sisolak in this session?
I think that Governor Sisolak has been a terrific governor. You know, he's the first Democratic governor in some 20 years. He's going to be reelected. I think that the work they did in the legislature on voting is exemplary for the rest of the country. We now have voter registration is become very simple, easy. We have extended periods to be able to vote and early voting. It's just a really remarkably good job they did in that regard. With healthcare, they also did a terrifically good job. To think that Nevada, who's usually not in the forefront of healthcare in this session of the legislature, now has the public option. I think that is just really good. So you put that together with what we did with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, Nevada's going to be well served.
It was interesting. I spoke to Clark County Chairwoman Marilyn Kirkpatrick yesterday, and I asked her if she was contemplating running for governor. And she changed the subject. I asked her again, she changed the subject again. And I asked her if that was a no, and she didn't respond. Do you have any thoughts that Marilyn Kirkpatrick might challenge Steve Sisolak in a Democratic primary?
I think the world of both Steve Sisolak and Marilyn Kirkpatrick. I think that there won't be a race between the two of them for sure. I have great confidence. I repeat, both of them, they've been terrific public servants.
All right, we will take that to the bank. Are you going to be making a phone call to Marilyn Kirkpatrick after this interview?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to check up on that. All right, let's take another break. We'll come right back with Senator Harry Reid after this timeout.
Can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you.
I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with former United States Senator Harry Reid. I was greatly enjoying my conversations with Roberta Lang, State Senator Roberta Lang, during this session. She was having the best time as a state senator. Do you see her as a future majority leader down the road here in our Senate?
She well could be. Roberta Lang and her family have been close to us for 25 years. Her boy now, who is an adult, was in one of my TV ads. So I keep in touch with Roberta, and if she decides she wants to be majority leader and gets that, she will do a terrific job. She has been trained now for almost 3 decades.
Well, she is amazing at doing interviews because her responses are just fabulous. If you get a chance, it would be worth watching a couple of those interviews. I wanted to ask you about this whole controversy at the legislature over natural gas. You pushed so hard to get NV Energy off of coal and into natural gas. Coal is gone except for Valmy, which is going to be retired here in the not too distant future. What are your thoughts on getting rid of natural gas in the relatively short term?
Sam, I believe that one of the things I look back at with some degree of, I don't know what the right word is, but not reverence, that's a little too heavy, but the work that I did on coal in Nevada. I was in Washington, got up and read my morning clips, and I found there were 4 new coal-fired plants they're going to build in central Nevada. And I said, no, they're not. And I, one by one, went to those companies, the people who were the managers, owners of those companies, and I don't think threaten's the right word, but told them that they should not do this because I would remember it. And so they backed out of that. I've worked on renewable energy. Natural gas, I'm against all fossil fuel. And I know that people say, that's really, we can't do that. We can do it. We've done it before. They said we couldn't get rid of coal. We got rid of that. Heavy oil, we've gotten rid of that most. So I believe that the future is renewable energy. We have, and one of the things I look back on with, I'm glad I did it. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. And my negotiator on the omnibus spending bill was a guy by the name of Drew Willis. I called him, I said, Drew, when you go to meet with McConnell's people in the morning, you tell them that I get 10 years renewable tax credits for solar, or I'm backing out of the deal, we'll get nothing done. And it worked. And so the future in Nevada and the country is renewable energy. We got solar, we got wind, geothermal we have in Nevada. And I think that that's terrific. I think if you can come to Las Vegas, you drive out to Railroad Pass, which is about 10 miles, 3 more miles toward Searchlight, and you'll see 3 million solar panels. When people fly into Las Vegas, they think it's a lake. It's solar panels. And that's the future of the world. Natural gas, all fossil fuels are nothing but killing us.
Does it concern you, though, that if you were to take away natural gas, the building industry would have problems, the restaurant industry would have problems, and homeowners would be forced to spend large amounts of money replacing appliances and having to trench into their homes if they weren't already set up for electricity into those locations? We've only got about a minute left, but if you could just address that briefly.
I think anyone trying to fearmonger the issue is wrong. We've made adjustments in the past. Technology is always advancing, and we can do it now.
Senator Reid, we are out of time. I always appreciate your time. It is a pleasure to talk to you. You look wonderful. You look healthy. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sam.
And we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's Development Company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's Development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Subscribe to our Nevada Newsmakers channel. We'll see you on the next broadcast.